Because that was where I had issues.
The issue that I have is it grows.
Mm-hmm.
And once it expands, it wants to pop out of those grooves. So
Yeah.
this time I built another one. I used a dovetail router,
Mm-hmm.
and so
Yeah.
you kind of have to thread it in, and I'm hoping that keeps it in place.
What I did, in section, the grooves were shaped like that, and it sat down here.
Yeah. So it
it
would
wasn't
come up a
quite
little
that.
bit.
Yeah. Well, it didn't try to climb out, but you could see the loops getting closer together. It was fun.
Yeah, the first one I had, I made the loops too close together,
Mm-hmm.
and they would kind of grow into one another and
Yeah.
and touch and short and not good.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I built for 5 kills.
Oh, did you?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, boy. I like it.
Is there anything you haven't done, Steve? Just
I'm
You
wondering.
implemented the
I have an interesting resume.
project.
no kidding.
I think I'm going to get
I
it to be
actually
able to
printed it
follow
out once.
in,
It's about
in
150
at least one dimension.
Wow.
I spent years
But the
hitchhiking
tilt,
around the
I
country
can't get the
doing
tilt to
every
actually
job I
work.
could think of doing.
Because I can't figure out how they
The-
actually
the-
made the tilt.
The most rewarding for the
If you
time
look at those
spent,
pictures,
and
it's
one
like,
of the funnest,
what did they
I
do?
was
Because it's the
in,
same, it's the same pan and tilt.
But you have the center of the coordinates
I
center.
was coming from
Yeah.
California. I was headed home.
You
I had to
can
drop off
follow
a bunch
the-
of stuff.
Yeah, it'll
and
follow.
I get to Kansas,
for the most part, it
and there's a
follows
town
pretty
meeting
good.
going on, and the guy that's supposed to be
And I
fixing
hope
the
it works
water
because I
tower is
forgot to
not
bring
there.
I printed
And they
them all
needed the
out.
sacrificial
And I
remains
forgot to bring
installed
them.
You have
inside
this-
the
So I'm
water.
going to try it
phone?
with the
You have it in
phone.
the
I
phone?
had scuba gear with me.
And no, but you need the white,
The white background.
$4,000
Yeah.
for an hour's
Well,
worth of work.
that's what
No
they
kidding.
look like.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you can use
Sweet.
those.
I don't know. We'll try it.
Okay.
If it doesn't work, we'll try something else.
You have the number specifically, one number or anyone?
Anyone, any number.
I can send you some of mine
Okay.
drawings.
It should be any number. So I played around with a bunch of different ones.
So were yours 4x4?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Figure out where.
What you'll get, Gus, is this meeting announcement.
Okay.
I already sent you one. This is an open topic meeting, and just like you saw on Meetup probably.
There
And
weren't those specifics. A lot of this was on there.
yeah, we trim it down when we send it out, so we kind of don't want people getting involved until they come and we see who they are and what their interests are and
Oh, it's
that
not
kind
on.
of safe. Once you get here,
You
you
want me
get
to
to
turn
see
it on?
the club calendar meeting announcement. That's this. You can go
I
directly to
can
this and
send
see
you
what we
this.
got in it.
Or any one of them. Absolutely.
He does meeting videos. That camera right there is meeting video. You can
Okay.
watch that. And another thing we don't expose to unless you get
It
an idea of
hasn't
what you're
booted
going to
yet.
get.
Yeah.
We have quick news, Linux news, and then the current event.
Yeah, I
It
guess
used the
that's
white
pretty
border, I
standard.
think.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
it
we'll
did
be
these
going through
corners.
that shortly.
It
So
needs-
you get
it
more
needs the
detail.
white border.
Okay.
Yeah. For
Uh,
sure.
I found another marker that needed the white border too. So let's use your phone to play around with
I
it
can
too.
send you
What was
this
it,
to
last
your
week?
mail.
Okay.
And we have folders that you can go to if you want to put your software up.
They're
You can go to these
Mhm.
folders
part of
and
the
see
part of the
what
problem with the
We're working on.
what other people have
with
done.
the
Yeah.
There's
the,
mine. There's Leroy's. That's Leroy over
mesh
there, the club
that I
vice
have.
president.
Mhm.
they did not
And
generate the barcodes right.
if you want a folder, you just
Barcode?
The
request
matrix
one.
code.
Uh-huh.
It
And it's
they
just
did
a,
generate it
it's
right,
just
and
a
it
Google
Yeah.
folder.
was
Oh.
wrong,
And
and
you don't identify.
And if you want to link
Yeah,
to your
and
own,
then-
you have
and
your
then
own
they,
folder, you want to make it available?
they sent
Tell
me
what it is. I'll
the right
put a
one,
link to it.
but it had a
Except
black
maybe
background.
Steve, I don't know
And I
what's
had
in
to
Steve's
change it to a
folder.
white,
Yeah,
to a
yeah.
white
Yeah, I don't know
background,
if I
and then
want
it
your
worked.
folder.
Nothing.
So,
So
yeah.
we have
I'm right there with you.
participation notes. If you want to go back and see what we did for the past year, you can go and see it, see if there's anything interesting to you. And we promote the library, and also I have a list of audiobooks that I read, if you read any audiobooks in there.
I just signed
Does
up
the
and
camera
downloaded
run
one.
that hot?
Oh, okay.
I've worn out
It's a little
CleveNet
popcorn.
of all theirs and overdrive.
Really?
So
Yeah.
Oh,
they've
okay.
got 2 new systems here.
It's a
so
little
I'll try
supercomputer
those.
running
Yeah.
inside of
Oh,
that
okay.
plastic case.
Yeah, I just
So it's
reading
doing
one
the
today.
sensing itself. It isn't.
What was that?
Well, yeah, there's a scaled down
I
version.
go through
of
so
it
many
running on
because I
there.
listen to them when I'm
Really?
working.
Oh, yeah.
And they're just sort
So
of
what
in the
sort of
background.
commands does
When
it
you're
send
working
back?
or when you're driving through.
Yeah.
That was a good military, if you like
Like
military.
sent
Oh,
it
yeah?
live
That's the
more-
Marine Corps, the guy that basically helped create the Marine Corps,
Oh, okay.
kept it alive. Without him, the Marine Corps would have been basically gone, been absorbed into the Navy.
It's sending,
or Army or
it's,
whatever. Pretty interesting.
it's
read.
running like OpenCV. So it's
So-
Okay.
sending,
I've got a spreadsheet in there if you want to look. See what I
Okay.
got.
Yours is
Good way to
noisy.
exchange what good books.
It's a little noisy.
And I rate
the
'em.
fan, or by night I hear.
oh, the fan?
Your
Yeah.
phone number and contact information will not be shared unless you express
got it.
expressly tell me, and then I'll share it. Otherwise, you can share it anyone you want. It's up to you. But I'm not going to release it.
Okay, so it does
Nobody
two-
sees it
2D
except
messages
me.
unless you have
When I'm gone, Leroy will have the list.
pose
I won't
on,
have
then
access.
it's 3D messages.
Are you
Is
leaving?
this
No,
why
he's waiting for me though.
Yeah.
to move the.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
any sooner than I have
If you
to. I
turn
warned him
that
it'd
on,
be a
then
long
it's
time.
3D,
before I
and then
do
you're
it.
down here.
I hope.
Interesting.
Yeah.
He's been setting traps since then. Let's see what happened in the news this last week.
I was thinking on to use this, but I need.
Oh, the Raspberry Pi
I
8
need
Plus
to change the program
is
to
a
send all
subset
the
of the
parameters.
B. Is that what it is? It just only has one serial port instead of 4. The Raspberry is a higher end. You know what it is?
I know what it is. I haven't played with it.
Yeah, it's for doing control. The Arduino is just
Four
great.
sets of coordinates.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry, what do you mean?
And they're saying IBM, after they brought Red Hat, they said they caught on
This is
to
the
free is
coordinates
still
of each
here.
corner.
Free is
Mhm.
part
You
of the
need four
business
of those
model.
for
Yeah.
4 corners.
I don't
Okay.
think.
That's what comes out of the
Concerned
standard
about
messages.
Red Hat
I
turning
think-
closed
But
source.
these
I
don't-
didn't
I mean,
found the example
But
of this.
yeah, I have mixed
of this
feelings
format.
about that whole thing.
Okay, and that doesn't really
Well, we
give
know
you
what
the
Microsoft
angles
would try to
unless you
do with
calculate
that.
the
Well, you
angles.
can calculate
Yeah,
the
you
Yeah,
can
angles.
use calculator
cache somehow.
Or
with that,
but
yeah.
I think that they have already
does
A way that
angles.
directly,
Yeah.
yeah.
Red
You
Hat
need to ask for
charges
them,
just a
but
little
in
less
the
than
application, not
Yes.
anybody
Gotcha.
else.
Not
If
in
you
the
do
comments.
This is
their,
standard.
Yeah.
These are standards here that they,
their virtualization stuff.
But you can
It's
modify
Zen.
the application and ask for whatever you
You
want.
can do Zen
Okay,
for free,
yeah.
or you can do Red Hat Zen, which comes
Yeah.
with a nice front end.
I
And
have
it's
problems to
about
save the
half the cost of
modifications.
VMware.
You-
But it
Usually you can
doesn't
modify the
include-
application.
So like
And
VMware, you
save.
can run 3
Okay.
servers
When I turn
without any
off,
problem,
turn on,
but if you wanna run more than that.
got lost.
It's,
You
it,
can't
the last
manage it with
unmodified
vCenter.
application
You gotta
appears
have multiple
again.
vCenters and silly stuff.
What?
And Red Hat stuff, it doesn't matter.
Maybe
You
to
can, you can
go
manage
deeper
500.
in the.
We have
Sure.
Unix guys here. You have to watch
Yeah.
out for him. He's heavy duty. We got
Now, what
Unix
is the
guys
blue?
here.
Is there a difference
They're-
between the
No.
blue?
No, no, it's
Yeah,
just a
okay,
case.
Okay, no, I didn't know if
But
they
they're-
changed
we're
from
looking
one
for
year
a
to the
nice
other or
Apple
something.
bigot.
Okay.
They
We
have
don't
different
have a
color,
real
right?
good
Yeah,
Apple
you-
bigot
you-
these days.
you
Although we
could
have
get
some
like
fence sitters.
4 or 5 different
Yeah.
colors.
Black is
If
more
they have to
serious.
use it, are you an Apple bigot?
Yeah, that's exactly why I got black. I'm
You-
serious.
This is more for fun.
He's looking for another Unix bigot. We
Mine is
got
black.
plenty of Unix bigots.
Yeah,
It's
I
okay.
went with
We got
black because
Microsoft
it matches
bigot.
everything. Black is
Me, I hate everything.
The black is good
So I don't
for
do that.
heat
I'm not that
dissipation.
super
The
technical.
black
so
bodies
these.
emit more
I
heat
was getting
than the white
got in
ones.
an argument with one of our attorneys.
But also
not
they
long ago.
capture more
He's
heat
like, well,
when they are in
Linux was so
sunlight.
good, it
Yeah.
would be in more places. I'm like, really?
Trade-off.
I'd have-
Do you realize
Maybe this
that
is what I clicked on.
of the 500
I have no idea where I found
fastest
that
computers
demo
on the
at.
planet, 500
They,
of
they
them
send me a
run
link
Linux.
when I ask, I
All of
need
them, every
to
single
use this
one.
in an application.
There are
They send
more
me that, but you
Linux
can ask
devices than
for
Windows devices. If
in
you
Google,
count
give
Android
us
phones as
robot
Linux
forward.
devices. I mean,
You will find
it is in
Yes,
more places. It is
that's true. I
absolutely
can do
everywhere.
that.
I don't care whether you
And
use
don't
Linux
call
or
it
not.
Unix, it'll show you're old.
Yeah.
I can't
And
do
you're
that.
out of touch.
Are they
That's
low-
what
Some
Unix,
people run
Linux. Okay.
forward.
It doesn't matter whether you think you use Linux or not. You do.
Oh yeah, we do.
That's it. That was too simple.
Google.
that was too simple.
Are they in Canada?
Uh,
Are they located in Canada?
No, they are in California,
California, yeah, that's what I thought.
close to Los Angeles, I think.
Oh.
And
Yeah, those are palm trees. They have none of those in Canada.
But they answer in a matter of minutes when you ask something.
But isn't French their primary language?
No.
No?
The guy
The,
that
the video is
the guy that
French.
made this is French, I think.
But the people that made the device, the stories in California.
yeah, it's
Maybe I think he's a teacher of a university there.
yeah he
Okay.
That is a French, but maybe all the rest of the people is American.
Okay.
let's see if it's still here from years ago. Did I spell that right? No, I did not. There it is.
It's got a fan built into it.
Yeah,
You're
and they say don't touch that fan.
Tiny.
Don't touch it.
big.
Oh.
I said, don't touch
Yeah, L.A.
Where do you see that?
Right there.
Oh, yeah.
That doesn't really. You could almost say anything on Kickstarter.
So what's one of those things cost?
It was $50.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah.
And you can change everything. You can make your own programs and your own. You can use the OpenCV library
Mm-hmm.
and do whatever you want.
Yeah,
It's like-
it's
like
basically
have a
running
Linux
OpenCV
machine.
on it.
It's a Linux machine, I think, right?
Yeah. Well, it's like a scaled down.
Most good things are.
It's a single.
This is it right here.
Yeah.
Yep. It's a. I got to the command prompt, the CLI, and it's like a really, really scaled down version of Linux. But I kind of sort of expected it to be more like embedded Linux instead of Linux.
So what, you terminal into it over the USB port?
The software that they give you has a way to get to the console, yeah, but it's basically doing
Well,
the
I mean-
terminal through console.
Yeah.
So the software that goes with it, is it like machine vision software? Can you? There are no tools that you can put into it.
The software,
It has a lot of demos.
yeah, it's
Each one
more
made,
Like pattern
using
recognition or
Python,
something like that.
Python, but it's a single page size demos, written in Python, and they use the OpenCV library. Almost, there are standard functions, and you use them.
the software is really more of demos, but it gives you access to change things and modify things and save it to the device,
Gotcha.
or save it to your own machine so you could have a copy of it.
Does it? Oh, I'm sorry. Does it have one ARM core or how?
It's a quad core.
It is quad core. Okay.
Yeah, which probably explains the fan. I don't get it. It gets warm. It really does. The tiny package, It probably ought to be in a little bit bigger package to
Mhm.
dissipate the heat better, but
How often does the fan run?
constantly.
Okay.
And it's power hungry. I mean, you basically have to run it off of 2 power sources. And that's really the biggest drawback to it that I see. What do you think?
Excuse me. I was
2 power sources.
for
Yeah, because you have to run it off.
it's power hungry.
It's power
Well,
hungry.
actually, the USB cable they send has 2
Yeah.
male connector to use two USB ports.
Mhm.
Means that it's more than 500 milliamps.
Yeah, it's power hungry. You've got
It runs on 5 volts.
it runs on 5 volts. But I've got 5 volts running into it from the Arduino, and 5 volts running into it from the external
And
battery.
you have in the app they send. You have the temperature of the microcontroller, and you use a lot of processing. The temperature goes up and goes down. You can see how it works,
Yeah.
right? Maybe it's overclocked also. I was impressed with the fan just over the chip.
Yeah. Is there a little heat sink on it as well?
I didn't open it, but maybe they have a version with a bigger board with heat sinks. Maybe enough. I don't know.
I think this is the only version that they make, but it's an ARM 7,
Yeah, I don't see a heat sink.
1.3 gigahertz. It's a hefty little.
Yeah, that's fast.
It's a hefty little processor. And then it's got a dual core GPU, so it's got some hefty processing power right on it.
Dual core.
I mean, obviously the 256 megs of RAM doesn't really matter. It does what it's supposed to do. But you want to see if we can actually make this thing follow the phone around?
Sure, let's do introduction.
Okay.
I'm Jim, club president. And
Gus,
Gus,
new guy.
New guy.
Hi, new guy.
Hey, you want to talk about your particular interest or anything to the whole group?
Yeah, I've got a bunch of them. They're mostly, well, they're everything from different musical devices I've made to Arduino things to knife making and 3D printing. So
How many people got 3D printers in here?
everybody.
No, not me. I got a camera. I got cameras. I do Wi-Fi cameras. That's my hobby these days.
In your knife making, what kind? Are you making unique knives or folding knives or?
So
hunting
far they're
knives?
just flat knives. They're just a lot of different sizes, but they're not folders.
Okay.
I got into it kind of just because it was somebody gave me a kit,
Okay.
and it was already pre-heat treated and everything. You just put the scales on it. And so then I said, well, it'd be cool to heat treat. And so then I got into making the kiln that went with it, and understanding all the things that go with it, with the the crystal structure changes and everything. So it was kind of a.
What kind of kiln is it? Is it like a pottery kiln or?
It's one
is
I
it
made.
Oven?
It's an oven, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, it's got a Canthal wire in it that you heat up.
And how hot can you get it?
It goes up to 2,000,
Okay.
and it needs to go to about 1850.
Because I've got a couple for enameling, glass on metal.
Mhm. My mom's into glass slumping,
Okay, yeah. I did hear you
and
say.
so I'm making a kiln for her.
Oh, great.
And that's the current project is to try and get an Arduino rather than buy a $500 controller.
Okay.
Recreated in Arduino so that I can have specific ramping up, welling, and timed ramping too.
Oh yeah, yeah, cool. what kind of handles do you put on the knives?
It depends. Everything. There's some plastic ones, but wood. I make them for people. So one guy put a new wood floor in, so I stole a piece of his floor and made it out of that.
My cousin makes glass handles for knives.
Yeah.
And he lives in Thailand, actually. But yeah.
There's
He
a guy
goes
down
to
in Elizabethtown who
Okay.
I haven't talked to him. I saw a display one time, but he had, and there's a name for the material. At the Chevy plant down there for
Yeah.
Corvettes,
Yeah.
all the overspray would settle
Okay.
and settle and settle, and it would be different colors. And
That's
so
funny.
you get this multicolored,
Oh.
and he had bricks of it, and so he would carve
Okay.
them. And then
Okay.
once you grind them down, then you've got this sort of psychedelic effect on
Yeah.
them, all made out of this Chevrolanium or something. I forget what
Whatever
they
it
called
would be
it.
called, yeah. Cool.
That was cool.
Okay, next.
Oh, me. Okay. Well, I work programming PLCs and HMI screens.
Name?
Mark.
Mark.
That's the. And then.
He
yep,
forgot who he
that-
was.
So that's what I do in my day job. And I'm under a
You
lot of
busy?
stress. I'm
Oh.
under a lot of stress right now. So.
Okay.
So.
Our club vice president.
I'm Leroy. I do stuff.
Yeah, he brings in a lot of junk.
I do. I do a lot of demos along with Vicente and play with robots. I counted over the holiday. I've got 15 robot kits that I have not put together yet.
50?
15. 1-5.
To do.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
how
here's,
many done?
here's what you don't want to get involved
Oh,
in.
there's
700.
there's 50 at last count that I've actually put together, but
Club
It's
rule
crazy.
is we don't ask Leroy why questions.
don't ask Leroy my questions.
Mhm.
I ask him why, but
Yeah.
he,
Yeah,
he
and
won't answer. But.
He's done.
He made that mistake once before.
I'm Steve. I'm the Linux geek, I guess. My daytime job, I'm the database administrator, system admin for a pretty good sized law firm. And I run a group of my own for Linux use. We meet once a month on the fourth Saturday of the month.
Where do you meet? What?
Norwood
Yeah.
Library.
Okay, so are you in charge of that group?
Mhm.
Okay, gotcha.
Try to get him to send me a note so I can publish in here when he has meetings. I'd be glad
No.
to.
So fourth Saturday of the month,
No,
except for November
He'll-
and December.
he'll never remember.
Send me a note. Send me a mail message with that on it.
Okay.
But sometimes you don't need to. I've heard.
Pixie. Pixie too.
Yeah, send me a note.
Okay.
Tell me what you want. I'll be glad. We promote everybody. If you want to start a club, good. We'll help you. We just try to do good things. We have freedom from fear is our topic. If you do a bad demo in here, nobody will say a word unless it's me, and then I'll get beat up pretty bad. But we try to have freedom from fear. People do this, and it's work. It's work to do what Leroy does. That's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
And so we try to encourage people to come in. We try to encourage to help people. If you have something you want to talk about, we got Steve here that can answer questions about anything. And Leroy, and we got good resources, and that's what
Leroy
we do.
knows some things. Leroy doesn't.
Vicente, I like do a lot of stuff from woodworking to digital signal processing and moving I am obsessed with the indoor location for robots, trying several things about that.
He's getting
And, also outdoor lately, using lasers, image processing, sound processing. Just learning a lot lately.
good group. This is a little smaller than our normal group. I guess the cold got to them. But yeah, we've been hitting a dozen regularly. We're almost growing out of this room. Our peak, we're
Yeah,
probably going to
sure.
grow out of this room next year. But hey, we can do that. Okay. Having done with the amenities, are you ready to go?
Everybody's
Okay.
ready. Everybody's ready for this. So I'll just do this first. Particle finally delivered on the mesh network that. The heck was that?
That's me.
Okay, that came. They offered this September of last year. No, September of this year. It's been a long, long time, and they finally did it. And I finally got them to work. I have no idea what to do with these. So if anybody has any idea what to do with a mesh network, tell me, and I'll make a demo. And over the holiday, my Pixie 2 camera came, which is
Mesh network. This is TCP/IP,
Yeah.
Wi-Fi,
Yeah.
mesh.
yeah.
So
No, it's actually a pure mesh. The Argon has Wi-Fi that connects back to the particle cloud. So you upload your programs, and it distributed them across the entire network.
was that English or anybody get that?
Most of it.
Steve?
Most of it.
Oh yeah. Help us out here, Steve. What did you say?
The Argon has Wi-Fi and connects to the particle cloud, which is the IDE and how you program the particle devices.
Particle Cloud. So the Particle is a company
Particle is a company.
that offers.
Well, they make hardware, and then they provide a way to program it.
Okay, and they have their own.
They provide a platform in the web
Yeah,
Okay.
to program
The-
and to.
This is the cloud
yeah.
stuff.
you,
Cloud
The-
can,
stuff?
you can use a browser to program this
The-
device.
They're
Just send the program and
So this
wireless.
is an edge device. It's between people and the rest of the cloud.
okay. Yes.
So that's a generic name, an edge device.
Well,
It
what-
was to me.
what,
Okay.
what they're hoping is that system integrators will buy them and integrate them with things and design the products around them, and then that's how they make real
Is it
money.
IoT type
Yeah.
thing? Oh, it's IoT style.
But that's how they make real money, is other people design products around
Oh, okay.
their product, and they charge a fortune to do
I
that.
have an humidity and temperature sensor from them. Now it is working from since 2 years ago, and you can see the temperature and humidity of the house in the web page.
You're using
And
you're using a photon, right?
Photon, yes,
Yeah.
the first one they made.
Yeah. So they've made others. This is the third generation, and they've come out with these meshes. This is just a mesh device. It only will connect to another mesh.
Using another radio link. It's not Wi-Fi.
It's not Wi-Fi.
It's like point to point.
It's
No, but
It's more like
a mesh.
Bluetooth.
They use several devices to relay the signal
Okay.
and reach different places.
Okay.
You deploy many of those in a big area. They automatically rewrote the messages
Yeah.
to find the destination.
It does
automatically.
mesh,
Yeah.
and it's
You can
it's-
remove or blue new devices, and they identify themselves and recombine to
yeah. This
move messages.
this has a mesh stack on it instead of a Wi-Fi stack. This has both the Wi-Fi stack and the mesh stack.
Okay, so if you want to go to the Wi-Fi, you could go.
Well,
You
go
would mesh
you
them
go
together,
you go
and then
from
Wi-Fi.
this device, and it ends up here, and it goes up to the cloud and,
Gotcha.
and back. But you program them over the cloud, and it comes here first, and then it goes. I need to go over there. So
Cool.
I've got two of these. I had a problem getting one set up, and I didn't bring all three because my box
And they
is
have
small.
I/O on them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Okay.
they look like
They
They-
came with a.
they look
breadboard.
like a Adafruit feather. And they're supposed to be feather compatible, so you could buy the feather wings and plug into them.
So I have a warehouse full of equipment. Each one has one of those. What sort of equipment is it? What can I make it do?
Discrete in, discrete out, analog in, analog out.
Sure.
Yeah.
Um,
So if you want to measure temperature or you want to turn something on or off somewhere, it's just IoT stuff.
You can control garage doors to.
they're supposed to be low power too. This may actually be one of those ones where you wanted to, if you wanted to do the temperature thing, you'd need one of these closer to your router and your access point.
And the cool
then
thing is
What
they're-
sort of range
they're
have they got?
They, according to the website, they work more like Bluetooth. So whatever.
So 35 feet, no problem.
But it's
35, 40
mesh,
foot,
so
yeah.
if you want to extend, if you have a place where you want 20 of them.
I think
Yeah.
I think it said what was it 100 devices can connect.
I don't remember.
I think it said up to
I
100.
just take advantage of the price because those
How much are they?
cost $30 now.
Yeah, they
I
went
pay
up
$9.99 for each
significantly
one.
in price.
Was very cheap because it was a star.
I took advantage of the price too,
Star
but I waited
promotion.
forever for the stupid things to get here. I think this one was $13, and these were $10 a piece. I paid $33 total, so, and I got
But-
3
but
devices.
This is for
But now
just,
they're up to
just the
3 each.
board, but they
Something
send
like
a
that,
full kit.
Leroy, can I
After a
take
while,
look
they
at
say,
that?
okay, we can
Thank you.
make a price or something for the first
Argon.
buyers, and they send a full kit with breadboard, and I didn't open.
It's got a breadboard and 2 LEDs in it, and a couple of resistors. I went, well,
Sense-
gee, great, the
sense.
breadboard's useful.
They call it the starter kit or something like that. But it's
I kind of looked at that and laughed.
20 cents plus in stuff.
They said, oh, and by the way, we're upgrading everybody because
Yes.
of all the delays with the starter kit. Sounds good.
Giving you 2 LEDs.
I got 2 LEDs, 2 resistors, and a breadboard. I can use the breadboard.
So the breadboard's inside here? It's
Yeah,
just a standard
it's
white-
just a standard, ordinary breadboard.
No, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah. You know, if you're just starting or you really don't have a whole lot of stuff, a couple of LEDs.
Do you remember the voice kit from Google? The box is exactly the same design,
Yeah.
a different size. All the parts are the same design. They use the same
Oh, okay. Somebody had
the
parts.
voice kit. The white
Yeah.
half box.
Is
Yeah.
that okay?
And the,
So there's argon, xenon,
There's a
photon,
boron.
there's another one.
Boron.
Boron.
That's not one of the.
and they just have more stuff or less stuff?
Well,
or-
The other one that goes with the mesh has cell and mesh. So you're paying an additional cost to use the cell portion, but I guess the thought is if you're out in a field or somewhere, you could deploy one of those and not
I
worry
think
about the Wi-Fi.
The great thing is that you can be anywhere in the world and you can change the software
Yeah,
in your
Yeah.
browser.
That-
and download and
and
Whatever it is.
and the
Whatever.
IDE it's not 100% Arduino, but it's
It's very
our
like it, yeah.
Arduino-ish.
And they have a lot of libraries also.
Yeah, it's an okay setup. I bought them because of the price. I didn't have any idea what I wanted to do with them. I bought them because of the price.
Do they talk about security? I mean,
These are secure. They're supposed to be
This
secure.
is in all the new devices. They are very concerned about that.
Yeah.
I think that no one's will release a new device for IoT without considering
Well,
safety.
even the old devices, the old Photon and the old Spark,
They changed
they were secure. When you go and set them up, it said something about generating security keys and some other stuff. So they were, I don't know how secure, but they were supposed to be secure.
they thought about it.
Yeah, they were at least thinking, and
I think
that's
they
been
actually they actualize the devices in the field automatically if they have a new security patch or anything, all the devices will be updated.
Yep.
And they work.
They actually think about some of that stuff, and they were thinking about some of that stuff years before any other company was thinking about it.
I have
because
those.
He has some of those.
Oh, okay.
He reads my email and goes, "Oh yeah, I need that."
he makes me buy everything.
He's a bad influence.
You owe me money for the Commodore.
No.
So this is mesh,
$12. That was my maximum.
mesh
I am
plus Bluetooth.
in
So it's some
94.
other.
When you set it up, it connects to your phone with Bluetooth. But the mesh stack is something else. And that little piece of paper in there tells what I named this stupid thing, because you have to give it a name.
So mesh is saying that it's just a multitude of these devices. That's
Yeah,
the mesh.
It'll pass information through it. That's all
Yeah.
mesh means.
There's
Which is nice, because you got one that's 200 foot and it's 100 foot distance. You put one halfway,
Right.
and you're good.
it's I'm pretty sure this one's a self-healing mesh too, which means if one of the devices drops, it'll figure out how to reroute the information
Yeah.
to still get it wherever it needs to go.
And they each have individual IDs, and so they know which one they're talking to.
Yes, for sure.
Speaking of security, this is our security guy here. He
Hi.
gives me crap.
Also, is that a?
That's
What
a.
the heck is that? Is that a
It's a
microphone?
big ball looking right at you. It's going.
It's a camera.
Eyeball.
So anyway, that's that stuff. There's a number of different types of mesh networks though. I've got a ham radio mesh network up, which is a bunch of old routers that connect and they're self-healing, and you drop one of those out and it just picks up and continues to send information. And there's a number of different ways. So there's even some apps on your phone that you could set up limited mesh networks between phones, so if the cell service goes down, you can still communicate. I think that works over Bluetooth most of the time, but because Android has those weird security things on the Wi-Fi, that can't do mesh over Wi-Fi. It does mesh over Bluetooth, I think.
Let me ask a dumb question. If I have one of those on my patio or corner of my house, and my neighbor has one on corner of his house, how do I?
Okay,
How do
so
I?
so when you set these up, you set the Argon up first because that's the one that connects to the cloud and becomes
Right,
kind of the
right,
master.
Right.
You set that up and it asks for your mesh name and a mesh password that only you should know. So then when you go after it's done setting that up, you can set up your other devices right along with it, and you don't have to type any of that stuff in again. But if you buy a new device and you want to set it up on this mesh network, you need to know your mesh name and your password for that mesh, and eventually after a few minutes it will negotiate and join the mesh.
Okay.
So in other words, it's not going to attach to someone else's mesh
Unless you
inadvertently.
know his mesh. It might show the mesh in the list of meshes when it goes to provision, but if you don't know the password, you're not going to join that mesh. So
That's backwards security. You're putting the password into the master node. There has to be an insecure channel where it transfers that information to the new mesh node.
You could encrypt it.
I mean,
Well-
unless there's like a WPS button or something on there.
the first time I set it up, I set up two of these devices.
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't need to type my password in again. But
Mhm.
the third device, I was having a problem getting it to set up,
Mhm.
period, until Particle told me how to do it.
Okay.
So I had exited out of the setup completely, restarted the phone and everything. I had to go back in, and I had to, when I set that device up, I had to tell it what the password of the mesh network was.
Directly to that device.
Directly to
Not through
To the new
password.
device?
to the new device, yes.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it is
I-
probably stored somewhere, but it's probably hashed out or something.
I thought you were saying that you couldn't talk directly to the lower nodes, only the master.
No.
Okay.
No. When you set it up,
Okay.
it's a fairly. The setup actually is not as straightforward as it could be or should be,
Yeah.
but these are still relatively new-ish. And I imagine that the more feedback they get, the more streamlined it will be, because
Mhm.
it wasn't quite as straightforward as. And I've set up plenty of devices, and I'm kind of going, what do they want me to do? And why do they want me to do this?
Well, I just misunderstood. I thought you were saying you couldn't talk to the new device until it joined you.
And actually, when I set up the third device, it actually did not connect to the Argon. It connected to the other Xenon.
Mhm.
So
That's cool.
Does it
this is the one that they say, because it connects directly to the particle cloud. This is the one they say can't go to sleep.
Mhm.
These can go to sleep, and it won't affect, or it shouldn't affect the mesh.
Cool.
But this one cannot go to sleep. They made that very clear in one of their forum
Yeah.
posts. That do
Does
not
it-
let that one go to sleep. Otherwise, you're going
It's a
to
gateway.
have all kinds of problems.
Does it have a favorite browser that it likes?
I use Chrome. I don't think it really cares. Really don't think.
Just not IE.
Just not IE. not Windows. Actually, to set these up, you actually use an app on your phone to set them up. So that's that. Over the holiday, Vicente, myself, a couple other people, we've just been talking about doing various and sundry things with cameras, and of course, Pixie came out with Pixie 2, and I picked one up that I said that he could use it for a while. I have no specific plan for whatever that is, but it does barcode reading, and it's really, really fast. It doesn't do the
2D.
the
It's
yeah
3D.
the 3D stuff. It's doing the 2D stuff.
But barcodes, it's reading the information. It doesn't care about the distance.
They have a Ruko? No.
No,
No, they have
It-
code, QR code, and
I don't think that one even does QR
It's
code.
a linear
colors.
barcode.
colors,
It's
shapes.
colors
Yeah.
and it's colors and shapes and that
They call it
barcode.
groups. They can identify several
That is not what I wanted.
Objects.
group objects that share the same color, for some the same quality characteristic of color. I saw the video. They put a red ball and a blue flashlight, I think, and they can identify. They call the blue as flashlight and the red as a ball. But if you use a blue ball, they will call it flashlight.
Okay.
They
Yeah.
don't identify the shape. They identify the colors.
It's
So-
all like color.
So it's color. It's a neat camera. I've got a couple of the original models. They were a little bit of a pain to set up. This one's supposed to be a whole lot easier to use. But I showed it to him and I said, "Don't buy this. I'll just let you use it. Let you use mine," because I had already ordered one before we started messing with these other cameras.
Well, when it puts the cube around the ball, what is the cube? Can you get information on the cube?
Probably an XY position.
The old camera would give you X, Y, and something else, a pixel number count, so you could. I actually used the old camera. And remember, I did that demo where I showed how you could use a one-dimensional camera and do distance off of it, and it was pretty good.
It's a cube or it's a square?
It looks like.
It's just kind of a square.
Okay, sorry, I thought it was a cube.
It's a square with a name, with a number or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
It's telling you which one's which. Somebody did that.
the old camera, I'm pretty sure would tell you how many objects it saw too. So, of whatever color, but it's basically a color sensor.
Yeah, I guess it is just a square, right? I mean, they're using all balls there, so you know.
What I think is kind of it's how fast it's doing it though.
Yeah.
It's doing it pretty fast.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually doing it's learning the shape too, I think. It isn't just color.
The new one is much better. The old one was just color. The old camera was just
So
color.
it's pattern. You're teaching it a pattern and then it follows that. And it knows the background too. What is part of your pattern, what's part of your background.
I don't know if this.
Pattern recognition. That's what I'm saying.
I think that it has no power for pattern recognition. It's just
finding objects of that color and reporting their locations.
a square, a rectangle with different dimensions of something.
This teaching is fast and easy. Adding new objects is fast and easy.
See, that's saying ball. There was one of the videos I saw where it was using the.
They show how to identify a ball and a flashlight, right?
Well, it was showing the line sensing ability, and
Many sensing tasks require
he was
speed.
putting
Fast.
barcodes out
Finding
to tell it to
objects,
turn,
providing updates,
and
50
it was
times
fast.
Ping pong ball.
Pixie is fast, so your robot can be fast too.
There you go, Leroy. Let's do that.
That's cool.
Okay. He's got the camera right now. Tell him to do
Do
it.
that? Yeah, let's do it.
Color codes can also be used to detect objects.
So
But it's
it's
just-
the
What
ball
a
is
color
good
code?
because there's no
Color
rotation on
codes
it.
are 2 or more tags
So if it is
placed
looking at a
close
pattern,
together.
doesn't
Pixie
matter
can
what
decode and
orientation
report
it's
them
in.
as
It's not.
official objects.
It's not. It sounds like it's
Here's
not
a color
pattern
code
oriented.
for
It's just
a
color
charging
oriented.
station. With color codes, Pixie also reports the angle.
The color codes are
Color codes can be used to
that
help
the old
robot
camera
navigate
was
through
kind of a
life
pain to set up the color
or
codes,
important landmarks
but you
like
could use
doorways and
2
hallways.
colors and make different codes, and it would
Color
go to
codes are
different.
robust.
You know, you
Many
tell it to go
different
to
objects
wherever,
can be
and it would look for
identified
those
this way. More
for that
complicated color
particular
codes can be used to
pattern.
identify hundreds
You have the center of each color.
And Pixie can do all of this at 50 frames per second.
So it looks like are they doing the shade thing like you do?
Hey everybody,
It looks,
I'm Rich
but it's
Duran
looking
with
at the
Sharp
ball
Labs.
and
I
detecting all the
almost
shade.
did all the maths
In
of
the
this,
past, most recently we had
but I
Pixie.
still
Think of
struggling
Pixie
with some
as an object
functions.
sensor that'll talk to practically any device, including Arduino.
Yeah. I don't know where I saw that video of it doing the.
I'm interested in the one with the freaking lasers. I'm just kidding.
This music's gonna drive me nuts.
The one,
Continue making advances in sensor technology.
Pixie one.
Pixie can
Yeah, see, that's the
sense
original
devices
Pixie.
and other objects, but Pixie can also sense other things, like laser light.
Again, use Google and put Pixie object detection or something like that.
Using the Pixie 2.
I don't want to get too far afield.
Last year, we brought you the to make your computer vision
This isn't the one I saw either.
Now, we have
I'll find it.
two. See if you can.
Sooner or later I'll find it because we want to see this thing work. Right?
Yep.
I don't know. I'm not sure what we want anymore. So we've already talked a little bit about this, and this is what I am attempting to do. And I can tell you, this was way under $100, like way under $100. Mainly because I already had most of the parts. But even if I didn't have most of these parts, $20, $70. Are you playing with it? You got to get it. It doesn't. I don't have the tilt working, so you got to get it down on its level.
Didn't like that.
Scared them.
Ah! I know the feeling.
Why are you going backwards?
It looks like you got it
Well, I had it.
disoriented. You either zeroed the servo or something. Oh, kind of like that. But then it won't stop.
See something.
Help me! Well, that's interesting.
What did you make it do, Leroy?
That's like it. Now it wants to go backwards.
It's and then they can't see it. It looks like if you rotated this, it looks like it's trying to go away from the camera every time. See, it's trying to go away.
Why were you working at home?
It's a router. That's interesting.
It saw it up on the screen.
It does recognize the symbol.
Yeah.
Let's see if it just recognizes anything. See, it's ignoring me, which is what things normally do. It's recognizing the symbol.
Maybe you have the reverse of the motors changed,
I had the motors reversed,
I think.
and then
The position of the camera is backwards. It's supposed to be looking the other way.
where the heck is this thing going? And why is it doing that?
There is a wrong sign somewhere.
Well, that's interesting.
The cam.
43 voicemails.
Okay, maybe I don't have this working as well as I thought I did. Obviously.
Hang on. No 40. I think it's a laser machine. What kind of
The
laser?
noise for that.
Well,
Audio for that.
Let me check. Is it on?
no, I just unplugged it. don't think it's a lighting issue.
You try with 4 at a time.
Reboot it.
Now you
IPL.
confused it.
It's, well, it's kind of falling.
That's what it should
Is
be
it
doing.
missing a connection here?
Yes and
Okay.
no.
Okay.
That's meant to be.
It's the motor drives are backwards. That's what it looked like. It's trying to go the other way, or it's turning right instead of left. It's following the stupid camera. I mean the display. See ya. Yeah, it's the camera is fine. It's the drive is off.
Are the different symbols supposed to do different things?
No, it's just supposed
Because
to.
it'll follow the silly camera. See, it's
And
the
it's
servos are
now
following
it
the
would be
camera.
moving
Now it's going the right direction.
Yeah. I think because I'm not using the pan part of it, I don't think it's
Oh, is that what the loose wire is? The pan?
so I couldn't figure out how pan
Or the
actually.
tilt. It's the tilt.
Yeah, tilt. Right.
Yes, it's-
I'm getting the two backwards. The
Yeah,
tilt.
The tilt is disconnected.
Do you have a paper copy?
I left all my paper copies at home
Hmm.
because I'm not smart. Yep, it's going backwards.
It recognizes it, no doubt. It's just
I think it might be because
the
it's on
direction
the
is
phone.
hosed.
I was wondering that because it's like a bright light instead of a.
Actually, is that still an issue? Like, wow.
I don't know.
The servos will follow this.
Like, you think it might be because, like, the phone, you're showing it on a phone as opposed to paper because, like,
I wondered that.
I had.
the frequency of the camera and, no, I think the phone screen's gonna be like a ton faster than the camera's gonna be.
If I turn the motors off though,
Yeah, it's just the motor, the drives.
it's following it.
I think that there is something.
I've got the motors.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that's,
Now see, I don't have the up and down. But when I was playing with this at the house, I pretty much had to be on the same level because I don't have the pan or the tilt. And if I was
Your
out,
screen went off.
Your screen's out.
oh, that would explain.
Forgot all about it. The screen went out.
So, Jeremy, have you used Aruco markers?
what?
Have you used those markers before?
Not those specifically.
What I found at the house was I pretty much had if I was up a little or over, it would act really, really funky, and I think it's because it doesn't have the tilt.
Okay.
So maybe. See, it's still going backwards.
If you reverse the action of the motors, I think you'd have much better chance.
Come here, you. Should be easy enough to do.
I was using processing the programming environment also to do that.
No, the correct term is all you got to do, Leroy.
All you got to do.
All you got to do.
Just. Oh, my cousin goes to a knife show in Las Vegas. Have you heard of that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
All you got to do. I did have the left and the right
It's
motor
just
set
more
up
of a-
wrong.
More of a hobby. I'm not trying to sell or anything.
Yeah, he just sells glass items with different shapes and that, but then I don't know that much about the knife business he does. But
Can cover.
There's big money in it. There's
is there? Yeah, it must be.
people.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I mean,
Change the angles.
there's a lot of time involved. So if you
different
do
libraries.
try to,
It does look, yeah,
right?
you have to
I had one here. No.
We're doing this without taking the whole thing apart.
Over
I like to get this wire to go back there.
Yeah, it's just kind of fun. It was more, you start off at a little, a little experiment. Before you know it, you're getting deep into it, deeper and deeper.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Do you live near Westchester?
No, Milford.
Yeah, that's more like me. I'm at Eastgate.
Oh yeah. Up until 3 weeks ago, I worked right over right down the street. So.
Leroy, what do you use to
Oh, down the street
connect to
here?
the
Here, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
the screen?
What kind of work were you in?
I worked for Intelligrated. It's a
Oh, yeah.
manufacturer of conveyors,
Yeah.
distribution centers.
Chromecast?
I'm a mechanical engineer.
Mechanical,
I
yeah.
think I
That's
raised
what
the
my
Chromecast.
degree is in, but I do programming now with
Oh, okay.
PLCs.
Why aren't we moving? You should be moving.
Are you working somewhere else now, or?
Same company, just
Oh, because the
went to
number's on
Mason
there.
instead. They have.
There you go.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
Well, now it's decided to go the other way again.
So you went to Mason instead of Westchester?
Slightly better.
Slightly better.
Which is a lot better. It's they have.
Stay awake. Stay awake.
Dining facility and stuff like that. So.
Hey.
Oh, okay.
Pay attention. Look over here.
It loves to go
My
the other
youngest
way.
kid.
It's an anti-follower. Whatever the word for that is.
Non-conformist.
Right.
It's a hateful robot, is what it is.
A renegade.
It's
Yeah,
spiteful.
robot.
It's female. It must be female. I guess. Just saying.
It runs away from them.
It's spiteful. I kind of run after it that time.
Backwards. Yeah.
And I couldn't see.
Yeah.
I couldn't see that.
Okay.
That's why I said turn the camera around. It worked great.
Well, crap. Not only did I forget the actual paper markers, this
We
thing
can-
was
we can-
it was following me all over the bed.
We'll have to do it next week. We'll have to do it again next week.
Can I just shoot it?
Yeah, that too.
This thing is giving me nothing but hate and discontent.
See if you can find a male version of it. Be
Oh.
more cooperative.
It's. I did have the right and the left motor reversed, but changing the pin should have. I bet I just reversed it again. I bet I don't really know what I'm doing yet.
If you switch left and right,
If you just reverse one motor and not the other one, but then you got to guess which one. Yeah.
I'll play with it some more at home. I actually want to do. We weren't really paying attention to that, but they've got the end of this video where they've got Roku markers in line in it, and their robot goes to one and then it goes to the other. Kind of does a zigzag pattern down the hallway.
Well, when you print them, is there a top and a bottom that it doesn't care?
It doesn't care. No, it's like most of the other one. You know, the QR codes and the matrix codes. They don't really have a top and a bottom. They are what they are. The machine will see them. The camera will see them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not real sure why this decided to go stupid. That's gonna bug me. I know.
What network is the Comcast? The public library or something?
Oh, it's HB. You gotta be on the HB, whatever that is. HB
B6, 3,
HTB, yeah,
a number or something.
yeah. Well, I was going to show the code, but this may or may not actually be working. I don't have the PID library installed on this computer, otherwise we'd fix it. So they're setting up some PID loops for the servo. And they were using just something I might have to do. They were using the motor drivers with 3 wires. Forward, 2 wires would be forward and reverse, and 1 wire would be a speed control. I'm only using 2 wires instead of.
Okay.
So, one.
Direction and PWM.
One's well, yes. PWM is on one pin, and then direction would be on the other pin. So I had to modify the sketch for that, and that may be where my downfall actually is. So I may just have to go with another robot that instead of this robot. I've got plenty of them. It's not like basically it's doing readings off of the serial port, and it's looking for certain things, and doing a little math and going. There you go. Sends all that information down to the motors, and the motors just do stuff. Cool. It's actually pretty simple. I think there's only, like 250 lines of code. It's actually a pretty simple program. They were using a really cheap, that platform right there is like $10 on eBay. And I've got a couple of those. Are you trying to Chromecast something to me? It's not working? Hey, because the library doesn't like eBay.
Chromecast is part of Google Home? No.
It should say Meeting TV if it comes up.
It's Chromecast should be Google Home is the software you'd use to get to Chromecast to find something or set it up.
So yeah,
I am studying Google Home now. I tried 3 different apps.
But Google Home does want to talk to a Chrome device, and that what he's using is not a device. You're connecting to something that's emulating Chromecast. It's not really Chromecast. So messy.
Yeah, it did show up on mine today. That's just odd. They have. I was going to show the pan and tilt sensor. It's the same one that I've got, but here's my problem. I can't figure out from that picture. I can't figure out how they actually have the camera mounted, because it won't.
You can't turn your camera the direction. Maybe it solves the problem. Put the camera in another direction.
Oh, so this would no longer be the front, and this would be.
Exactly.
I bet that's what they've done. No, that's not what they've done. That's not what they've done at all.
Mm-hmm.
See, you've still got the thing on the back.
Right. Yeah, the camera lens is out to the left of that picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you reverse the motors,
You need to connect to the BT router.
Swap left
You
and
connect to
right?
the BT router. I
should.
You have to connect to the BT router to see it.
Because
BD.
BT.
I mean, just
look
turn
for
the-
all the.
Hey,
the connectors are in
I
the
just
back.
turn
Okay.
the wires.
BT like British Telecom.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I'm
No,
not
HT.
I'm not sure which wires you're going to which motor
HT.
right now.
Okay.
HT. Okay.
HT. Excuse me.
Couldn't hurt to turn the
Who
camera
two?
around. Would that be reasonably
Right.
easy?
It's the
It
famous
looks like it
Hutu
just
router.
snaps into
that's
this
perfect.
section here.
Yeah.
We paid big bucks.
Do you have a little pocket knife?
This is
Pop it
Android?
out.
No, I don't.
Yeah, that's what
What
I mean,
I had to
yeah,
use
the car.
To
I had
see
to
it
use
while you
a
got home.
little screwdriver to pop
Oh,
it
to
out.
here.
Glass. How is the?
This is fairly
There's
thin.
home. I don't see it.
I didn't see the Chromecast either, so.
For the card itself, then
I have home.
it has no real value on the guy
Okay,
that prints
now
it.
if you wanted to
Open.
configure one,
I need to add something.
The weird thing is, though, you said it
probably
was
if you
working.
don't need to configure it, you shouldn't be able. You should be able to go
the
to
only
here,
other. I'll turn this around and take.
and that's just
that
the
one.
browser.
Mhm.
I don't have
Go to
the.
there.
I don't have the servos hooked up,
And find
and I would have to
something. Let's see.
modify. I'd have to put the code that I took out
Or let's see.
back.
Mhm.
You know how to do
Because I
this
took
too,
out
right? You go
the
to
tilt
setup.
code, so I would still have to reprogram
And,
the stupid thing. So even if I turned it around, yeah.
What would it be, under
it was falling
display?
all over the place.
Yeah, under
On this
display.
setup or on another robot?
No, on this setup.
And,
Yeah.
cast. Ours is under display.
So even if I turn that around right now, it
No
wouldn't
nearby
do any
devices
good.
were found. Well, I'm not connected to the BT HT
It would do
Hutu
the right
router, so
direction.
let's try that.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Wi-Fi. I've got it disabled, in fact. And there's Hutu router. Connect.
So I don't even have that
It's
one right there.
connecting. Okay, now I go
That
back
is-
to
that is-
display.
This was a pain. This is going to be even more of a pain. I'm going to have to
Mhm.
take that back off to get to 'em.
See, bring that down.
Reroute these
That.
wires a little bit because they're on the back side, and if it starts turning,
Display.
it'll start tensing those
and
up.
Cast.
So I'll
No nearby
rework it.
I don't see it
We'll
either.
try it again.
Here, let's see if I can see it on here. Just go to Chromecast and do settings. I don't want to do settings. I want to do cast.
But if you look at that picture, that's exactly how mine is.
Yeah.
The camera's pointing
And I don't see it.
No cast devices.
away
yeah,
from
he needs
the,
to
from the
restart it
motors.
probably. But I can
just
see
don't
it
have.
when he's
I
off.
mean,
Yeah,
if it
I can see it.
if it is going to tilt,
I might try to reconnect.
it's tilting the camera down.
But sometimes he has to restart the software
And
or
out. I
something.
mean, it's
Disconnect.
But not. When you watch the video, it actually pulls the camera up,
Connect.
like up,
mm-hmm.
and there's no way that it can do that.
Oh, okay.
No compatible
Well, it
devices.
could if you turn the camera around in this carrier.
Well, that's yes.
I can't see it either, so.
I would.
Well, what if the tilt
If-
mechanism were
If this was
Now,
aimed
did a
that
180?
Where you
direction,
Oh, wait.
What if you turn the tilt around 80 degrees, the tilt feature? I mean, you have to take the camera
Yeah.
off of it and then.
I don't see it now.
You can't.
And I'm connected
Can't.
to the router.
Oh.
and everything.
Because
So sometimes you just can't see it.
of the
And he
way.
has to
Yeah,
restart.
I can't see that well, but
That may be your issue.
I'll go with your.
You don't have a
thought on that.
Chromecast at home, man.
Yes, I have.
Okay.
But
I actually
never
thought
use
about
it.
that
It's-
because it is. It's
Yeah,
180 off, but
Yeah, try it at home.
the
and
server
just
horn
verify
is
it
on this
works.
side,
Mm,
It works on
and
my
it
silly.
can only be on this side, and then the
Android.
other mount.
Okay.
5-minute warning, and that's my function Gestapo, and my assistant Gestapo here. 5-minute warning, got to start putting stuff up.
So
But maybe
if you
if
turn the camera
maybe if
around,
this whole
there's a screw
maybe
underneath.
if this
and
right?
then I
whole
start turning the lights
thing
out.
is
They
turned.
ignore
Yeah.
me, which is very
There's a screw
common.
underneath here.
That's my job.
Well, I've
If you
already
loosen
been
that,
getting
you
from
can
my
lift
wife,
that
so
servo
Oh, yeah.
up.
anytime